Which Side Podcast is a proud member of the Which Side Media Collective.
This week's episode is brought to you by Anonymous. Anonymous just wanted to shout out support for Free Jeremy Hammond. So check out freejeremy.net and write him a letter. Now, just do it. You can also sponsor an episode by donating $10 or more. That is what it costs us to make each episode for you. And so that's all we're asking from you.
You sponsor an episode, we will do whatever you want. We'll shout out what you're doing. We'll mention your blog, your organization.
We'll be your shield.
You want to call your friend an asshole? $10. That's all it takes.
You can publicly call your friend an asshole. And that's syndicated worldwide.
Or you can ask someone out on a date.
Oh, let's do fucking punk rock dating.
WhичSidePodcast.com.
I'm serious. Like, who's your crush?
Yeah, $10. We'll shout it out for you. WhичSidePodcast.com.
WhичSidePodcast.com.
This is episode 98.
Yeah, we had John on from our Parsnippety.com.
You know, I gotta say, this is right up there already with one of my favorite episodes. It was, I thought, really fun to do. So, I hope you guys enjoy this one. But Jordan, what news and events are going on this week?
Well, as a continuation from today's sponsor, we're asking everyone to write a prisoner. I was actually gone at a prisoner support conference last week, and so that makes me want to tell you all to write prisoners that much more. So,
I'm going to write Jeremy Hammond this week.
Yeah, so write a prisoner like Jeremy Hammond, and let us know. We'll give you a fucking free membership.
For every prisoner you write. So it's a free month-long membership. You want a free year? Just fucking write these people. They need your support.
And let us know.
September 25th. 1639, the very first printing press in America. That's huge and historic.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. If you like these every week, I pull these little snippets of history out of the Slingshot Personal Organizer. You can get one at your local info shop, or you can get them on an online info shop like AK Press.
So take off your clothes, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, my first podcast ever.
Sweet.
I'm Jeremy, by the way.
Hey, Jeremy, and the other guy's Jordan, right?
I am Jordan, yes.
So I don't have to look in a camera or anything. I can lie on the ground in my boxer shorts.
Or whatever you choose to wear or not wear. That's kind of cool about it.
Oh, good. So there's no visual at all.
No, I mean, you can describe exactly what you're wearing if you want us to know.
No, it's. I guess it's. I'm not wearing anything interesting.
Oh, I thought you were gonna cut it off at not wearing anything, and I thought it was gonna get good.
Is that, well? If we have visual, I would like to, if we could, do this entirely nude.
Yeah,
only if you guys join in.
I'm always game to be nude. Like,
I don't know. I don't really want to see Jeremy naked, to be honest.
Let's. I don't even know if you guys are in the United States or if you're in Istanbul, or I don't know where you are right now.
It feels like that sometimes, but we're in Utah.
Oh, you're in Utah. Okay.
Yeah, just lonely old Utah.
All right. Well, we're lonely here in Minnesota, Minneapolis.
Good old Minneapolis.
So
Don't say good old man. You have no idea. Don't give me that shit.
So what is life like in Minneapolis?
Are we going now? Are we recording, or what should we do?
Oh, we're always recording.
Oh, it's good. Okay, so we're just going. Okay.
Oh yeah. We just hang out and kind of bullshit for a while.
Okay. Your question was what is it like in Minneapolis?
Yeah, like how the hell is it to actually live there?
None of us knows how. Well, we do know how we got here. We got here because there must have been no land left when our great grandparents moved to the New World. All the good agricultural land south of here must have been taken. So they were desperate for land. So they said, "Well, that's all that's left. So we'll go up to Minnesota." I have no idea if that's the way it happened or not. We all wonder what the hell we're doing here. You know, why would we possibly live? Last year, the winter was so brutal that we were in physical pain. It was so cold for so long, and now we hear it's going to be exactly the same this winter. So,
the polar vortex.
It's just we're you know, I don't understand it. We take some weird pride still in being here. I don't know. I don't know why.
You could take some weird pride in being like, we're in the polar vortex. It's super cold. How awesome is that?
Who's the polar vortex? You're or I am in the polar vortex. What the hell is the polar vortex?
That's what made it so cold last year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, it was the polar winds were pushed down south.
Oh.
Yeah, we're getting all sciencey and whatnot with it. But
does that have anything to do? Does the polar vortex have anything to do with climate change and the human damage done to the environment? I have no idea.
I mean, my lay.
I'd assume.
I would assume so, but I have no backing for that whatsoever.
Yeah.
We can't assume just because something bad is happening in our lives that it must be because of environmental damage we've caused. In many cases, it must be so, but I guess if my marriage is not going well at the moment, or if I'm not getting along with my daughter, and she's using foul language with me, I can't blame that on poor maintenance of the environment.
I mean, you can try. I mean, next time my daughter's mad at me, that's the way I'm going to go. Like, God damn this environment.
Why is my daughter drinking alcohol? Yeah, it's got to be because of climate change making her...
She's so goddamn depressed about our future.
Right, and the way we... Why is my cell phone ringing? Let me toss my phone into another room.
So how old's your daughter?
It's probably because of climate change.
Okay, sorry about that.
No. So how old's your daughter?
She's 17. I can't. If she catches me even talking about it right now, she is imagining that I don't exist and have no influence on her or any role in her life whatsoever. So if she catches me, if she catches me even mentioning her and acknowledging the relationship, it'll alienate us more than we are already. So I have to pretend as if I have no children.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will accept. I will feel no questions about my daughter.
That's fair enough. That's totally fair enough.
I think her nasty. Oh, no, I can't. What I was going to say something. Nothing. No, she's a wonderful. God, I love her.
She'll never hear this. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, I was just thinking, what are the chances that she'll listen to this? There's probably a fair chance because. So, all right, honey, I know you're listening to this, honey. I really love you, sweetie, and I like alcohol too, honey. That's to her. Why am I talking?
Fair
Can we start over? Can we start over?
Sure.
No, I'm just kidding.
We can. We can do whatever the hell we want.
I don't want to start. That's fine.
I mean, we would just say, yeah, we're starting over, and then we really wouldn't, and then...
I imagine. I don't even know who. I have no. This could be a trick that.
It could be. Yeah.
this is this live right now, being fed to
It's
what
not
radio
it's not
stations in New York?
It's not live, but it is syndicated worldwide.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
No big deal. I'm willing to accept whatever. Yeah, I'm happy to make whatever misstatements you would like me to make.
So, what is Parsnippety?
It is. How did we get here? It's been going on for about 8 months now, and I have always been one type of writer or another. And the past 5 years, I've spent a lot of time failing at writing a novel. And I got so troubled by it, and yet I was so persistent for so long, and yet somehow was not pulling it off. And for the heck of it, I just went out and I worked. I had to get out of the house, away from the office, and work outside. So I went and I worked on a farm, doing really hard, difficult farm labor, but a very interesting and close to organic farm with whatever that implies. And I did that. I worked my butt off for about 1.5 years at this farm, and I had a lot of time to think while I was working about is there anything else I can possibly do with my life besides kill myself trying to write a novel. And so I think my wife may have nudged me in the direction of a website. People kept saying, why don't you try a blog? Why don't you try one? I said, I don't want to do a fucking blog. Everybody does a fucking blog. I hate blogs, or I read them, but I can't imagine doing it. Am I allowed to swear?
Oh, say whatever the hell you want.
Okay. And so finally, I got the idea I had often, when I used to work at newspapers and I was allowed to write columns sometimes, and I would often write kind of, for whatever reason, my style, I would like to write humorous and satirical columns. And so I just one day got the idea of maybe trying to represent the interests of animals and the environment and nature, try to, give a humorous or satirical voice to those creatures that we do so much harm to, and yet they do not speak and cannot talk back at us. And so I just thought it would be fun to try to write stories from the perspective of plants and animals, ranting about how shitty it can be to live in a world that's dominated by people. And so that's what I started running with. I just started writing, I don't know how many stories I've written now, but I just sit around, I post twice a week, and I just try to say, I don't always have a point to make. Sometimes it's just pure, an attempt at humor, but I usually like to try to do something in the, an old-fashioned satire where I'm trying to make a serious point, but in an absurd or comical or style. So I just got the idea of I just had I had to take on some kind of writing project that wasn't the novel that was ruining me. And I just hit upon this idea of trying to give voice to the plants and animals and to represent their interests against human interests, which prevail.
So was it working at the farm that made you go this direction, or did you focus on personally care about environmental and animal issues before?
I didn't. I can't. No. I haven't been for many years, what I would call an environmentalist. Only the farm did kind of speed up my interest. But over the past, decade, I've, become more and more interested, mainly because more and more angry and enraged at all the, the horrors that we keep reading about, industrial food and, the how we are wrecking the environment and the oceans and the water and air. And so I did feel a gradual and increasing just anger, like many people do, at why can't we do more to address these issues? Why do we have a Congress, that seems incapable of acting seriously to, change the way we live? And God, I go on for so long, I forget the original question. I think that's a problem. I think that's my problem.
No, it's just like
not the questioner's problem. So yes, no, I've come fairly recently to trying to be an environmentalist and to engage with these issues and to read more about them. That's, so I guess, somewhat new to me. What is not new, what I've always, is writing and trying to write in a humorous and satirical manner. For whatever reason, that's just always been the way I've written since I was 18 or whenever.
So how has the Parsnippety been received so far?
Well, I'm probably not even the person to ask. We have, I don't know if do you know Liz Georgie? You know Megan, you don't know the people that got in touch with you, do you? For me.
I'm not sure.
You don't know. Well, my wife and I do the Parsnippety. My wife, Ann, is the editor. I'm the writer. But we are the type of people who wouldn't know. I don't know how to turn my computer on without help from people. So, and this, you have no idea how terrifying it was for me to sit here and try to figure out Skype. But so, no, we hired somebody who helped us build the site, who's kind of our technical manager and strategic manager. And she will call me up and we'll meet often and she'll tell me how we're doing. And so the reports from her are that we're doing well, that from when we began 8 months ago, we have gradually and increasingly expanded the audience. So I'm the kind of idiot that should be able, I can't give you numbers. Like I know that a lot of people would be all over their numbers. And was it Google Plus? Not Google Plus. What's the
Google Analytics?
Analytics, right. So I've never looked at that, and I'm supposed to, but I don't know. So it seems as if our audience has been ever expanding, and it seems to be working so far.
But she could be lying to you, right?
There might be 9 people who I don't know who actually have ever read any of these stories, but it seems like there are a lot more. I don't know. I keep trying to. I do whatever I do whatever she tells me to do, as far as trying to, market this right here. This they told me I had to do podcasts. I didn't even know what a podcast was. They had to explain it to me.
Were you like, people just listen?
I just thought, right, if I write, if I write some good and funny stories, I'll of course immediately reach a worldwide audience without Facebook or Twitter. People, you're right. In this project, I've had to, I never used Facebook. I didn't know what Twitter was from. I didn't know any of that. I've had to be dragged, kicking and screaming, into this world of social media, podcasts, and
it sounds crazy.
I'm old. I'm 55.
We struggle with it sometimes too. Like, we are in this whole realm, but man, like, some of the social media stuff, I'm just like, what the hell? Makes no sense to me.
I don't know what an app is. I've never used an app. Are we using an app right now?
Most people listening are using an app to listen. Yeah.
See, right, the fact that I said that right there, if you have any audience at all, they must just be going, what kind of pathetic guest? What in what desperation must you two have been this week to put me on?
I mean, in all fairness, really,
I can only
really
guess
desperate.
that you guys had the worst week you've ever had. And so here we are talking. What?
So do you write the videos too?
Videos, I usually write, like I sketch out a script.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the woman I mentioned, who's our technical consultant, her name is Liz Georgie. She's also a writer. And so we collaborate on the scripts. So we have to work on a video right now. If you guys have any ideas for us, we need an idea. I was thinking of the Kardashians, some kind of a send up on the Kardashians, while encouraging people to eat Kardashians, and yet also making and then just skewering our celebrity culture and the idiocy of whatever the Kardashian show is. So we were going to call it the Kardashians, and I have no idea. So I have to write a script for, we have to write something and put a new video up. I don't know what we'll do with videos. I'm mainly a writer. So again, I have no background at all in video or writing a film script or a video script. I'm just a plain old writer, and maybe not even that, according to many people. Who I'm now accustomed to people, commenting on the website saying, "What is this shit?" Saying, somebody wrote in today responding. I don't know if you guys saw the latest article about marsupial men because of some groundwater contamination in a small town in Texas. All the men in town have grown marsupial pouches, like kangaroo, the pouch that they have on their belly. So that it's some genetic quirk that's causing all the men to, at middle age, growing a skin flap or a pouch because of this groundwater contamination. And somebody commented just today and said, "I wish Facebook would come out with a not like option." So I wrote back and I just said, "Oh, fuck you."
Well,
no, I didn't say that, but I said we'd like it. I said, "Shut up."
I gotta tell you, since you say you don't do much with the videos, they're exceptionally well done.
Well, that's the video. I just do a good part of the writing of them, but the video itself, that's all done by our miraculous, multi-talented Liz Georgie. I'm plugging her, aren't I?
Definitely.
Is that what that is? Yeah, and so she'll be very happy to hear that. And we have to come up with more. We don't know whether to do more animated videos or whether to do live action. We keep brainstorming. I want to find some way to go out to a farm and have an animal interview us, or there's just no end of things. I think it's fun to somehow find a way to, there's so many things, so many ways to go with the shtick of, if plants and animals could speak, imagine how angry they would be imagine how angry those caged chickens would be, with their sawed-off beaks and their poor little claws fused to the wire cages and their tortured lives. It's just, I just want to keep thinking up ways to, I don't want to, I don't understand all of these issues. I'm not a scientist or an expert in any particular, I'm just a person with general interest in who's become increasingly angry the more we find out about how we produce our food and, what happens to chickens, how cows live, the fact that cows now are forced to, make 10 times more milk in their bellies or wherever the milk is made than our grandparents' cows had to make. We keep treating animals as if they're machines. And
are you telling me they're not?
Again,
machines?
Is there a question? I don't think I'm responding to a question. They're not machines?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, was that your understanding?
Yeah, is that incorrect?
Yeah, that's funny. I don't know if is that Jordan or Jeremy?
This is Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy. I don't know. Not many people know that about 75 years ago, cows and chickens became extinct. And what we see now at farms are these mechanical replicas. And so it's we no longer need to speak of whether or not it's healthy for them to produce, 15 times more milk than our grandparents' cows did, because you're right, they're machines. They have no nerves, no feelings. And
that explains why they're plugged into those tubes all the time.
Right. we do need to. We don't have wireless cows yet.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get on top of that.
Yeah, it's just those long extension cords that go from the barn to the to the pasture.
They're pricey.
So it's a cow. The poor cows. Yeah, it's just that the more you guys know how you just have to pay attention just a little bit to be really outraged at what happens out there. And then if you start showing a little bit of outrage, then you're immediately at odds with half the population who says, "Oh, come on, who do you think you are? What are we supposed to do? Not drink milk from cows, or what do you want to do? There are 7 billion people in the world now. What do they have to be fed." So the reason I came on this podcast is that you could help me come up with some answers.
So,
and I can hear you guys thinking right now that you want to help me come up with story ideas.
Yeah, this was just a collaborative storyboard session, right?
Right.
I
can tell you guys haven't even looked at the website. Is that true right now? If I could see, I wish we had video, right? I wish we were.
I'm not looking at it currently, but no, I have looked at it, yeah.
That's an outright lie. You just lied to me. Was that Jordan or Jeremy?
That's Jeremy again.
No, I believe you probably looked at it.
I'm just trying to think of ideas that are based around popular television shows that are also a play on words with a vegetable. That's what's been going on in my mind.
So you like the idea of the video of the Kardashians?
I really like that idea. I was like, how can we go with Jersey Shore? What rhymes with shore? What rhymes with housewives of whatever? We could do like garden vegetables of the garden. I don't know. I'm not clever.
I like the Kardashians because I'd like to encourage people to eat chard while just making so much fun of how idiotic our celebrity culture is.
Isn't there? There's a new show called The Killing. You could go The Kaling.
Like, yeah, the Kaling. Yeah, we can really get into a long and pathetic punning session here. But that's what we try to do.
I'm not smart enough to pull anything out right now.
What do you guys think? So you didn't see this story. I've got a list of the stories. I bet you guys, I'm going to prove right now that you guys haven't read anything of the website. I had one story about 2 months ago. The headline was Fall of Roman Empire Traced to Teeth Whitening. That's another thing that I think is fun to do, is just to poke fun at, our vain and idiotic cosmetic, just how infinitely shallow we are and our culture is. And I want to make sure right now that I'm never making these criticisms of our American culture, human culture, without including myself as the most guilty among them. But I just think, so I'm always reminded by my wife and Liz, who we work with, that I have to keep making sure that I return to the animal and plant world and represent them. But every now and then I get so upset about some, awful, some new level of human vanity and shallowness. I just have to write about it. And so the teeth whitening obsession was troubling me, and the fact that everybody now has to walk around flashing, just the most absurd white piano key smile. That's what we're thinking about, going to the dentist now and having our teeth whitened while, our environment is being, while we're slowly heading toward whatever destruction the scientists tell us is just ahead for our grandkids, that these are the things that we're thinking about. Are our teeth white enough?
I find it interesting that you say you have to be reminded to go back to animal and environmental issues. And we're just the opposite. We focus so much on animal, environmental. We have to remind ourselves to, we're fucking pissed off about other things too. Like, we gotta go that way.
Right. Oh, so you guys usually, I haven't looked back at previous podcasts, but do you usually interview people about environmental topics? And
mostly animal topics. Yeah. So it sounds like you've been pissed off for a long time about a lot of these issues. Like, when did
I would say I'm pretty angry. Yeah, but my therapist would say it's for emotional reasons too. My childhood. Having been.
Have you been pissed since you were a child? Just like a very angry child about everything?
I've been troubled since I was a child. But and I think I don't know if it was anger back then. Yeah, now I feel like I wake every morning angry. I am so upset about the horrors of industrial or corporate food. I just can't stop. I've just become I guess just the worst kind of food snob. I just can't stand the shit that everybody is eating, that I watch my kids eat, and I just want so much. I'm so angry about public school lunches. The fact that we now know how we always knew it. I mean, obviously, we've always known that it's important for people to eat well. We now know how important it is for, seventh grade students to eat a good meal with real vegetables and real fruit, and yet somehow, we can't come up with the little bit of money that it would cost as a society to provide a good public school lunch. Congress just a couple months ago voted against, what's our president's name? Michelle Obama's, her mission has been, one of her missions was to try to raise the standard of quality of food in school lunches. And her measure was outvoted. It was rejected by the Congress. And of course, the congressman said, well, we just can't afford it right now. We just can't. So, yes, I'm angry. How can you not afford to provide a healthy lunch for seventh grade? It's just, yes, so I'm angry. I'm so angry right now, I'm beginning to tremble just talking about this. And I wish that you guys hadn't even called me, because now I'm so angry. I can't even go on. Oh. I'm going to hang up, and I'd like to say goodbye right now. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's interesting that you brought up like the Michelle Obama plan, because I remember when she first came out with it, a lot of people like myself who's vegan was really excited, because one of the things that she brought up was that milk doesn't have to be a part of a healthy diet. And they had to revise that to say milk and milk alternatives instead of just saying that you don't need to consume milk. And that it fucking infuriated me. It's like,
so the milk lobby got in there and said we have to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. I wish there were more publicity given to the fact that we drink milk at all, as we now know, is an aberration, that most people on the planet are lactose intolerant and always have been. That story has just come out, that there was just a quirky
gene mutation.
Mutation among white Europeans that allowed us to drink cow's milk.
Yeah.
So you're right. But of course now the milk lobby has to make it seem, and obviously they won this argument a long time ago, that milk is, it might as well be put on the American flag. It might as well be the symbol of our nation.
Place the stars with milk jugs.
When I was in high school, I did a report on how the nutrition in our school system that was being taught was provided by the National Dairy and Beef Council. And
that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it is true. And I did this speech, and my teacher made me stop, because in my high school the word vegan was banned because they said it was gang related. A whole nother side story. Made a principal come up and listen to me speak to make sure I didn't go out of bounds. And at the end of my speech, made me go get one of the health teachers to provide their teaching criteria to show where it said provided by the National Dairy and Beef Council. And they were like, oh, this really is. You're not lying. I'm like, yeah, this is horse fucking shit. Like,
yeah, it's, we've somehow how does that happen? We let the corporate interests that sell the food and make a lot of money off the food, the milk, the Coca-Cola, we let them tell us what's good for us. And so that's why Coke, my brother called me up 6 months ago and said, it's impossible what I've just heard from, that Coke has come out with some new ad campaign saying that Coke is just, Coke is just one crucial way to hydrate.
Yeah.
To hydrate ourselves. That I think what they're trying to say is, yes, human beings need liquids, right? We need water. But, Coke would like us to think that, that Coca-Cola and whatever drinks that, that somehow that's, there are actual rivers and streams of Coca-Cola from, time immemorial. This is just Coke is just part of nature, and we ought to be drinking it to rehydrate ourselves. And then they know as well as anybody else that, obviously kids shouldn't be ODing on sugar, but, they don't, then so they, but they don't want to talk about that. They can't say anything bad about that. They hope we forget that, but they know we won't forget that. So they come up with artificial sweeteners that we're now just finding. I don't know if you saw the news this week or last week. We now know that there's this huge question now that artificial sweeteners screw with their metabolic systems and might be contributing to all the diabetes that's been afflicting children. They don't care. They just Coke just wants to. I mean, why do we? It's got to be the dumbest. I mean, what, I sound like a communist, but why do we let the very people whose only interest is making money off this stuff? Why do we let them tell us, like the milk lobby, that we ought to all be drinking milk? We don't. So we have regulatory agencies, but then we know the regulatory agencies are often staffed and led by people from these industries. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. So yes, were you asking me if I'm angry? Yes, I'm angry.
I forgot what the question was.
Why can't we just have, objective? We need to be told what's good for us by people who don't have an immediate financial interest in the information they're giving us. That seems like a pretty simple point, but we can't. We live in. What? We just live in a society. What? Don't try to get me saying statements about what kind of society we live in, like some sort. I'm not going to be caught saying we live. We're living some sort of financial oligarchy or some type of plutocratic, corrupt society that's dominated by moneyed interest at the expense of people without money. I would never say anything like that.
It's funny because I think just like 6 months ago,
be saying that stuff, you guys.
It's funny. I think like 6 months ago there was a report that came out about I think it was Stanford that produced a report talking about how America has always been an oligarchy. They just don't use the terminology.
We just don't. Well, right. Europe had all that terminology, aristocracy.
Yeah.
All we've ever had is what the myth of government by the people, for the people, government of, by, for the people. I don't know. We could argue all night. Maybe we should stay up all night and discuss whether and to what extent and in what areas that might still be true. But I don't know if we can't represent the interests of our seventh graders with a decent school lunch. It doesn't feel like the people are sort of in control and well represented when we can't have a decent lunch in our public schools for them. I mean, whose interests? I don't know. Don't get me started. What are we talking about? Cows? I had a story about cows forming a bovine chain from Milwaukee to Omaha to protest their mistreatment by farmers.
It reminds me of the cows.
You didn't read about the bovine chain.
I did not read about the bovine chain. I am much more of a video person.
They locked hooves. They locked hooves all the way from Milwaukee to Omaha, stopping traffic east and west.
Those damn protesters.
Yeah. I interrupted you. You were trying to say something.
I was just saying that reminds me of the parody song "Cows with Guns." I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I don't know. I should be. That sounds funny.
It's great. Yeah. look that one up. Cows with Guns.
Cows with Guns. Okay.
I was actually just thinking about the school lunch thing. Did you hear locally here in Utah? They were taking kids' school lunches who were
who owed money.
Yeah. And dumping them in the garbage
and not letting the kids eat.
Dumping their lunch.
Uh-huh.
In the garden?
Because
In the garbage,
because their
Oh, in the
parents
garbage.
were past due on their payments.
by some as low as 50 cents.
And
Yeah,
so
I don't know what can we say about that. That can't be true. You have to be. I'm assuming you're making that up because I can't.
Yeah,
I don't believe that a human being would do that. And so I think it's outrageous that I would go on a podcast where the very two men in charge of it would just lie.
if only we could.
But I'll let you guys.
So you were saying you get mad about things your kids eat. What's the thing that infuriates you the most that you see your kids eating?
Well, I think just about everything they eat. I mean, obviously, I'm the type of parent where we've raised them where in their sleep we stuff kale into their mouths. We try to, when they're not looking, I try to, force good things into their bodies. But no, there's no escaping all of the crap. I think I'm taking one example from Michael Pollan, kid, we're all scrambling to make lunches for our kids, prepare these lunches in the morning. And there's all these convenient snacks and so-called healthy things that, the companies come out with to make making the lunch in the morning easy. So, I don't know if you remember, Michael Pollan was talking about something called Go-Gurt. Have you heard of Go-Gurt?
Oh, God, yes.
Michael Pollan has part of a speech where I heard him talking, and he says, one of his food rules is, don't eat something that your grandmother or great-grandmother would not recognize as food, and don't eat something that has more than 5 ingredients. And then he smiles and says, what is Go-Gurt? He goes, it's those long tubes of yogurt. Have you seen it? It's a tube of yogurt. And he said he counted, and there was, I think he's counted. He said there were 27 ingredients. And then he looks at the camera and says, "What's yogurt? Yogurt is 2 things. It's whatever dairy product and whatever enzyme to make the yogurt." And so, what are all these other, what can Go-Gurt possibly? What would be the 26 other ingredients needed, to make a yogurt snack for kids? So it's just, I see them eating every now and then, all the stuff that you can buy at a gas station, at a Super America. I don't know if you have Super America in Utah, but, there's just all, pastries wrapped in cellophane and every kind of corporate factory industrial junk that our great-grandparents would not recognize as food. And that is, not food according to any traditional standard. All that shit. And yet that's what everybody eats. That's what our kids eat. Look at our kids walking around dragging these, gunny sack size bags of Doritos and Cheetos and all that stuff. I don't know. We don't even know what it is. It's all, what is it? Stuff that's fabricated in an industrial park in Pennsylvania or New Jersey with food scientists creating textures that are interesting and putting in flavor enhancers and stuff, all that stuff. Why, we've all known now for a long time that good food is important, that it helps our brain. It helps our body. We know now. Everybody knows how important good, real food is. And yet we still, because of such monolithic financial interests, we have such a hard time actually doing something about it in a meaningful way. So that's maddening, the fact that, again, large financial interests whose first concern is not feeding us well, they still get to play so large a role in what our children eat. So we get mad about kids. Adults, we don't care about ourselves. I mean, I should have been dead a long time ago from what I ate in childhood. But so we get mad at children. When I see that the big food and beverage corporations that I want to help me feed my children a good meal, they're not helpful. They don't help us. We need help. Parents are, I run into conservatives that, just say, well, come on, you're the parent, you're in charge, you get to decide what they eat. Well, no, we live in this culture that's just overwhelming, that's just pushing, the wrong kind of food in the faces of our children everywhere they go. How does an exhausted parent compete? We can't compete with that. We pack a good lunch and they go to school, and the school has a vending machine that gives them 19 options of shit to eat. Well, they take the shit because they're kids.
Yep.
So I don't know.
I always get labeled that crazy asshole parent at my daughter's school because they're what's called here a gold standard school, which means they're not supposed to give the kids like sugary treats and candy.
Right.
And they one time gave them granola bars. And I'm like, do you know what the first fucking ingredient in a granola bar is? It's goddamn sugar. Like, This is not healthy snack.
Right. So they just right. So now we get all this packaging. You're right, all this packaging, these healthy breakfast bars. Well, they're just fucking with it. The corporation, what? They have their marketing people. Let's somehow label it. Let's package this as if it's healthy. Well, why don't they really try to make something that's healthy for us? I don't get it. Do I sound angry?
God,
I'm not angry. I feel like I get always accused of being so emotional. I'm so embarrassed.
Oh, you're kind of scaring me because I'm in my 30s and I get pissed off about these same things all the time. So I'm afraid I'm going to turn out like you in my 50s.
You're not going to make it to 50. Remember, I didn't get angry till I was 45.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to hold on. You guys got to hold off. You got to just go easy on this stuff for a while. You're going to.
I've been this angry since 16.
Why can't they? We don't. I don't know. I'm not a communist, so I don't want to do away with the food and beverage industry. But I just want. Why won't the board of, I don't know, General Mills? What are the big food companies? Cocoa. Why don't they actually sit down and? Why don't they actually try to think of stuff that really would be good for us? Think how proud they could be. Think how, to feel that you really are, causing a revolution in the food, in the eating and drinking habits of people. But no, they're just panicked because we have to worry about how much money we're going to make next quarter.
Because the goddamn shareholders have to be happy, otherwise they lose their jobs.
Right, and I'm sure 3/4 of the shareholders, they're at home worrying what to feed their children. But then they're not, they don't want to make the connection. Oh, I don't want my own children, developing a habit of drinking Coca-Cola or Diet Coke. And yet I sure hope we get a good dividend check, or I sure hope we continue, making all this money because Coke is doing so well worldwide. All right, you guys are making me angry.
I'm just pissed now, yeah.
I tend to make people angry.
I'm so upset that you guys even called.
No. Is there any issue that you feel is just too dark to really approach with your humor?
Well, I've tried a couple of times to play with religion and God. Like my novel was going to be. I'll say right out. I'm not. I don't belong to any religion, or I don't have any. I'm still searching. I'm a metaphysical explorer. But my novel was sort of going to be about a character who, in some way, was going to mimic God or feign. Going to somehow try to slip not the Old Testament, not the New Testament, but the latest or some kind of contemporary testament, as if from God, chastising humanity for its poor behavior, for its cruel, awful, shitty, brutal, for its just making a wreck the opportunity of being alive. So I loved the idea of somehow spoofing or shocking humanity by creating a way to make them think that God is making a statement condemning us for our awful behavior. So in my Parsnippety website, I've tried a couple of times. I've done silly stories about, Jesus or God cutting his vacation short and coming back to earth in such an enraged temper because he just needed to, lecture us and announce that, it's over. We've wasted our opportunity at life, and so but playing with religion in that way, or playing with the notion, people get so upset if you fool with or make light of or treat humorously, the traditional religions. Christians are very offended many of them are, if you in some way play with the notion or have fun with the notion of their God or their prophet.
Yeah, I've always found it really funny that they hold on to their fictional stories so hard.
Well, it's true. They somehow, our civilization really ran with that story, but they don't think it's a story. They think it's what really happened, that God chose to send a son down to earth. I don't think I better get into it, but that's not, so I guess that's not a dark topic. I don't know. I just try, I do like to go into the dark. I mean, I don't think I've hesitated. I mean, I don't know how, the way when you really look at how we treat chickens or cows and what we've done to the environment and what the consequences are going to be pretty soon, it's all pretty dark. I just read an excerpt of a book called, an excerpt by a British scientist, and I think he wrote a book about a year ago called 10 Billion. And he was making the predictions of what is going to happen when we reach 10 billion people. We now have about 7.2 billion people. Yeah. But he was saying that our grandchildren, are going to be living in a state of real chaos, that will have things called what he called climate migrants. That is, that if we continue at the same rate of population expansion with the same rate of energy consumption and resource consumption, that, and with climate change, we're going to have whole countries that become uninhabitable. And you'll have, climate migrant, these people fleeing their own country and banging on the door of America or Mexico, trying, people, may need guns to protect them. So, he was creating this dystopian, or claiming that that's going to, the dystopia will come, and it will come soon if we do not radically change the way we live now. So I don't know. I like to I want to keep trying to find ways in my stories to bring that home to people. Humor can be obviously very dark, and I don't know. I do some slapstick and I do some stuff that has a serious point, but I'd like to keep pushing as hard as I can, from my particular way of trying to raise these issues is through humor, satire. So I will go. I don't feel like there's a dark place I won't go. Tell me, where should I go? Maybe you're aware of some dark place that I haven't gone that I should go.
I'd say more religion. That's fine.
I like the religious route personally. I was raised in an extreme religious family that I had to escape that mindset from. So I love delving into that.
Well, I do too, and as I say, a couple times I've tried to write about God being so angry more angry than I am that he actually does come back here, round us all up, put us in a big coliseum or at, Madison Square Garden, and just chastise the hell out of us. I love that image. You know how, I don't know if you remember the basketball coach Bobby Knight.
No, I know.
There's some. You ever looked at an enraged basketball coach on the sideline, or any coach? You know how coaches can become so enraged they're just shaking their fists and throwing a chair and and beating on a. I imagine God. I want God. Again, I don't have any belief in God, but I would love it if God, a creator, would return to earth, round us all up in a big circle, and just chew the hell, and just say, "You fucking idiots! Look what you have them. Look at nature. Look what I gave you. You are the most pathetic child. You just wasted. With your stupid, selfish. I just want us to be lectured in just the most angry way, and have all of us just shaking our heads, and then have us all look around and go, "You're right. How did we get? How did we get here? How did we?" With we know we have one rare, precious life. We know nature is precious beyond measure. We know animals are precious beyond measure. Well, how do we end up, caging chickens and stuffing them all with antibiotics and hormones, and treating them as if they really were little metal robots, not the creatures, I don't know. Will you finish my sentences, Jordan, Jeremy?
I love this image. I have this image of God standing there in front of everyone, just being like, "And what the fuck?" And then pointing to somebody in the audience and being like, "And you, Jordan, what the fuck were you thinking when you did?" And just like,
you're right. Yeah, you, Jordan, come to the front of the.
You.
See.
No, but I want him to go. Also, I want. We all know. We have. Whatever share of blame, but I also want him to go. I want God to show up the boardroom of Coca-Cola and say, and walk in and surprise them all right as they're about to have a major board, Coca-Cola or who or General Mills, what's the biggest, and just say, "Gentlemen, I'd like to have a word with you. What the fuck are you doing? Do you really want to sit here and plot and strategize with the brightest marketing people in the world how to get kids to drink more of your shit? Or would you like to be part of the solution?" And yes, my name is God. Yes, I am God. And just have them imagine, whatever, 18 board members, all wealthy, all, self-consumed, all concerned only about how much more money. Wouldn't it be fun to have God show up at their boardroom?
God, say, I love that.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I really do need you to pay attention.
Excuse me, gentlemen. God here.
Grab them by the waddle underneath their chin, their triple chins, and lift them up and say, "Yes, I'm talking to you, Mr. Fordham."
I just picture like a disappointed dad, and then he's like, "Why can't you be more like Jordan?"
I don't. Well, so.
That's my thought.
So that's that in that way. I want so much for there to be a God, a thoughtful God who would call us to account in that way. I just keep waiting. That's why I'm different and strange and troubled, because I wake up each morning just wondering when will we get the lecture, the really angry lecture.
Do you have hope for our children?
Hey. Jesus, don't give me that shit. I'm not. Well, how do people answer that? If I had to say, I think I'm probably the type of person who would say, well, I'm 50-50. I know we have to have hope. What did I say? I heard the other day, Wendell Berry. Wendell Berry, the great God Wendell Berry, the writer and environmentalist, said that in a novel of his that I read, we must have hope, but we mustn't have expectations. So I would say again, I certainly wouldn't expect that we're going to do the right thing, given the cynical things we've been talking about for 45 minutes and how, why we can't even get congressmen to vote for an upgraded lunch. If we can't get that, then no, I don't have expectations, but hope, I don't know, if you don't have any hope, then you may as well find a pistol and just shoot yourself. And I'm not going to do that yet.
That kind of reminds me of something Ralph Nader once said. It's because he's always, I don't know if you've been around him at all, he's super optimistic all the time. And he's not a guy you would, normally think is optimistic, but I've heard him several times say, pessimism doesn't create change, so you got to force optimism.
Oh, I think I've heard him say that too, and you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know, some people maybe just temperamentally have that. I remember being surprised hearing him just say unequivocally that, yes, I'm optimistic. I don't know, I can't say that. I think I'm about in the middle. I have hope. I tend to think that it's going to be some kind of a catastrophe that's going to change us. So I think that we're heading in the direction where there'll almost inevitably be catastrophes that, if they don't destroy all of us, will force those of us who survive to change our behavior. So I think that's where I put it.
Yeah, I find myself going from really optimistic to really just, fuck it, it doesn't matter, we're all going to die anyway, there's no point to life.
Right. No, you're right. You think, what, how often can I, urge peas on my daughter? How long that, I really, you're right, I can't. I don't know, in some ways it does seem hopeless in that but I don't know, we have to leave some room just for some kind of magic and some, we are strange, there have been large changes that have overcome people in history and certain societies. People have changed. We've made small improvements. I don't know. Are we getting better in some ways? What we know, it's no longer. We now know that it's no longer acceptable to beat the shit out of our children. We know this from my own Minnesota Viking, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah,
but yet, 80% of Americans still feel it is okay by the most recent poll.
Right. Well, I guess, what do we read? In the Middle Ages, it was fully acceptable to beat the shit out of your wife if she didn't obey you. Okay, now,
Yeah, that's where the rule of thumb comes from.
It's no, I don't know if we're making some progress, but I don't know. I don't know why it's so hard as a society to come to accept the fact that we need to not eat, that we need simple things like we need to eat well, that we eating well. Everybody with a brain knows we need to eat well, and in particular that we need our children to eat well. And yet, am I coming back to this topic as if I'm just insane? I feel like you guys could ask me about motor oil, and I would come. You could ask me about, the type of laundry detergent I use, and I would come back to school lunches for kids.
Well, that's because they feed children motor oil and laundry detergent most of the time. So,
I think that's right. The fact that we can't. What is, when I see vending machines with all that shit inside them, and two of the items, having that fake pack, as we were talking about, see, two of the 12, 12 of the items are undeniably bad, even from the packaging, and then two of the items are packaged as if they're some kind of health food or a granola bar.
Yeah.
All that cynical the fake, the attempt at the pretense that we're going to offer something to the children that might be healthy. That's what makes me have little hope, is the fact that, why can't we think of how many well-educated, bright people there are at a large food court, creating money, and yet they still, their solution still is not to actually make a good snack for the kids, but to make one and load it up with sugar and salt, as they always do, and then let's send it to marketing, and can we somehow present it as if it's a health item? What degree of, that's bad. That's bad. That is cynicism. That's bad. That's acting in bad faith. That's not trying to be, helpful to the struggling parents and kids out there. Oh, what the fuck? What am I saying? I've just had a glass of wine, and I think maybe it might be time for you guys just to say, shut up. Thank you for being on the program.
Well, it is getting to be about an hour. So
would you just please end the show by saying, we'd like to tell our guests to shut up?
I mean, we could, but I love hearing you rant, because you're voicing every goddamn thing I ever feel. You just bringing up the soda again, just infuriated even more, because there was 2 years ago, the schools they pulled out the sodas here, but then they put in vitamin water instead. And we're like, there's the same amount of fucking sugar in vitamin water.
I told you not to end on a bad note. You're right. You're right. And then they think, we'll get them with vitamin water. We're going to call it vitamin water.
Yeah. Or then they switched it to Gatorade. You're like, have you fucking looked at Gatorade? Sorry, it pisses me off. It's just ridiculous.
No, I know. That's why I want to go to those boardrooms, or I want to Skype God and just tell him, look, you have to go to those boardrooms that make these decisions and say, yes, we love the name vitamin water. That's good. Tell marketing they did a good job. Why is it hard to get these companies to say, we really would like to put a good drink in there? I guess it's hard. I don't know. Their fear must be what? If we actually make a drink that's healthy, maybe, the kids won't like it. That's the argument that drives me to suicide. The argument, the argument that they make, that if we put good lunches in schools with good veg, that the kids won't eat it.
Mm-hmm.
That, I know, and I hear that. I've followed that debate for 10 years, and it's totally false. It's a fake argument. If the kids are hungry, they will eat it. So the problem is, if you have in the lunchroom the shitty food, and then you have some good food, some potatoes, yes, they're often going to choose the shitty food, because that's how kids are. They're going to take your sugar-packed pouch of frosted shit, and they're going to eat, because kids are kids. I would have eaten that, unless you have really strong parents who've, raised you to hate that stuff. But obviously the answer is to only provide in the school stuff that is good. And when kids get hungry, they will eat it. What the fuck did kids do when, our grandparents? They ate the food, when there weren't frosted pastries available from a factory in New Jersey. They ate the food and got hungry.
I love that you brought up New Jersey, because 2 years ago there was a school in New Jersey that started offering really healthy alternatives. And by the end of the year, they stopped serving all processed meats and cheeses and dairies, because the kids didn't fucking want them. They wanted the healthy option. And that's what they were choosing.
Well, you're right. If you put the two of them side by side, brainless, we're all, I don't know. So you don't offer them the shit. You don't put the shit in the school. We're trying to.
We don't put heroin in a school for the same fucking reason.
Right. And as this conversation comes to a close, I see that more and more our sentences are being interspersed with words like fuck. It must mean we're angry. So, I can't,
Well, and it's funny because we end every show saying fuck, shit, damn. So we just say it a lot. I guess we're angry at the end of every show.
Yeah, we want to be. It's okay to be angry. We want to be thoughtfully angry, and I'm glad you guys are. And I'm struggling to be. I want to be thoughtfully angry. I don't want to write stories that are just. I don't want to just be. I don't want to try to be. I don't want to just be funny just to be funny. I love the old classical notion of satire, where you are making a serious point and using humor as the pincer, the skewer, the thing to poke at people. Oh, my wife just entered the room and she's looking at me with a. She's telling me it's time for us to go out to eat, and I think it is. Oh, well, you know what, Jordan, Jeremy, I don't know how to say this, but I feel like I've almost come to develop a romantic affection for you. I'm wondering. I'm looking at my wife right now, and I'm wondering if she'd set me free so I could come to you two in Utah and maybe live with you guys for a while.
As long as it's on a commune or a farm or something, we could all just be free.
I'm sorry. I always end up saying stupid things and embarrassing myself, so I should.
Well, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, what's my website? I'm not used to doing this. What's my website? theparsnippety.com. Oh, but you got to spell Parsnippety right, and that's not easy. So it's the Parsnippety, PARSNIPPETY.com. That's it.
That's awesome. Well, like I said before, we end every episode saying "fuck shit damn." Would you mind saying it for us this week?
I just like to say "fuck you too." No, I'm just kidding. No, you guys, thank you so much, Jordan, Jeremy. You made it easy for me. I wanted to be a strong man and a confident, bold, secure man, but I admit I was a little worried and concerned about myself doing this for the first time. But you made it easy for me, and I'm really thankful.
I felt comfort in your embrace.
I am embracing you, yes. And so, in this moist embrace, how do we say goodbye?
Fuck shit damn.
Yeah, just fuck shit damn.
Shut up, you two. That's it. I'm hanging up. Damn. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. This week you heard
Summer Water by Colleen.
And right now you're listening to
Jive, Jive, Jive by Mokian Worker.
And as always,
El Comandantes.
Which side are you on? iTunes, rate and review. It's super simple. Just go do it right now. It helps the podcast out tremendously. But we still have stickers for free. You want a free sticker? All you have to do is send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to P.O. Box 1291 84084, and you'll get a free sticker. That's it. Free one. Fucking free.
If you want two more, just throw $1 in, and we'll throw 2 more stickers in. So
and anything we have laying around, like maybe a zine.
Maybe I'll throw, personalized letter. I could draw a heart on it or something.
Yeah.
All right, if I can fit a coffee mug in there. Depends.
Whatever we can fit in your envelope.
Depends on what, the postage price is that you put on your envelope and or package, I guess, if we're going to get bigger,
Yeah. We'll fill it for you.
See what we can do.
Yeah.
Might just be stuffing peanuts.
But it'll be full.
It's only $1 you're giving us. Come on. It's not like I have a ton of excess stuff. But yeah, so do that and fuck shit down.
Which Side is produced by the Which Side Media Collective.